What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. Listen, we're not no fluff, no frills, no nothing. We're not doing no intros, none of that. Robert Quinn was just traded to the Philadelphia Eagles for a fourth-round pick as of reports as of right now. That's what the Bears are getting back for. When you look at the production of Robert Quinn this season, the fact that he just has not been producing at a big-time level, we did an episode last week on why the Bears are probably not going to get as much back in a Robert Quinn trade as some Bears fans may have hoped and wanted. And so that got proven true. They get a fourth rounder, which I think is still a solid pick, especially when you're looking at a team that needs as many bites at the apple as possible to really do a talent injection into this team over next offseason. While Robert Quinn, he did have a record-setting season for the Chicago Bears last season, that impact has just not been the same so far this season for the Chicago Bears. And it always made sense that they were going to move on from him. Many Bears fans were surprised that they did not move on from him in the offseason before the season started to really take advantage of him coming off that record-setting season. But this is where everything sits right now. The Bears officially move Robert Quinn, a player that has not really had any type of impact plays for them this season. And as I've said in in the last couple of videos, now hopefully we get to see more looks at the young talent in Travis Gibson and Dominique Robinson to really see what they can give that team on the defensive end as well. Al-Qadim Muhammad hopefully gets moved to the bench unit as well. And at the end of the day, in processing this, at least immediately, real quick, without having some time to really step back from it and see if any other deals don't come out or any other details about this deal comes out. But as far as the Bears getting that fourth round pick, I think it's a pretty solid value. Now we're going to find out as far as the money goes. Did the Bears keep some of the money? Did the Eagles take on most of that money? That's going to really bring in the details of how good or bad this deal was for the Chicago Bears. But overall, even if the Bears do keep most of that money as dead salary on their cap, I don't necessarily see it as a negative. Adding a fourth rounder for a player that just is not giving you anything this season and has seemed like he wasn't motivated to really stay around or impact this team, I think that you find value where you can now. Some reporters did come out and say that just as of last week, Robert Quinn did say that he wanted to stay with the Chicago Bears. So, I mean, it's unfortunate in that side. And then you see the reaction for Roquan Smith actually crying and talking about his love for Robert Quinn and things like that. Like, I'm sure he was a great team member for this team, especially when you're looking at last season. But at the end of the day, the Eagles are trying to add talent. They are trying to gear up for a big time run, and they're adding as much talent as possible to it. So, you know, it sucks in some ways, but I do think this is the right direction for the team. And that was Mark Grody who said that Robert Quinn had just told him last week that he wanted to stay in Chicago. But again, Robert Quinn did not seem very motivated on this Bears team. Maybe being moved to a team that's actually contending for something really does change his output, and maybe they see a much better version of Robert Quinn than what we did this season. And if they do that, I already know some Bears fans are going to look back at it and say, hey, we should have or could have got more. But it kind of is what it is. The Bears have struck. They've made their deal now. They have moved on from Robert Quinn, as many were expecting. And at the end of the day, I think it's the right move. He goes to the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles that are 6-0 right now in the league. And if he's going to be motivated, if he's going to wake up and give any type of impact like last season, he's going to do so on the Eagles. It did not happen for the Bears, but like I said, we got some young defensive ends and edges on this team that are ready to make an impact and ready to continue to grow and up their standing in the NFL and show that they're big-time players that have the potential to be big-time players in this league. But that is it. That's the details as we have it so far. Me, C-Dub, and Bobby will be live later on today for our weekly live streams on Wednesday. So we'll break this down a little bit more as more details come in. But until then, make sure you're following Chicago Bears Central at Shy Bears Central on every social media platform. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related because of you guys. And until a couple of hours from now later on today, bear down, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.